What's going on, guys? Austin here, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at 5-Minute Fantasies Week 12, Booming and Busting Quarterbacks. My start of the week is going to be Baker Mayfield. The Cleveland Browns, they're an emotional football team, and they're going to do a lot of things sloppy against good teams, but once they reach a bad team, they're going to be able to execute well because they're kind of like the old Pittsburgh Steelers. What people used to say about them. Except in the opposite, where, when it comes to playing good teams, like the Pittsburgh Steelers would raise their levels of play, but bad teams, they would lower their levels of play. Well, I think that's what's going on with the Browns, but an opposite, where against bad teams, they really want to prove something. So look for Baker Mayfield against Miami this week to be a really great start. Josh Allen against Denver. Denver is pretty good against the pass, although Kirk Cousins did score, I think it was 23 consecutive points against them last week. But they're not really great at covering rushing quarterbacks. So look for Josh Allen to not only have a few passing yards, but also some rushing yards as well. I'm going to say start Jacoby Brissett against Houston. Jacoby Brissett is a real starting quarterback in the NFL. And this week, tonight actually against Houston, I don't think that's a great defensive matchup, especially with J.J. Watt gone for the season. Look for him to be able to get a few points. Sam Darnold against Oakland. I think that this could be a potentially high-scoring game, kind of like last week's Washington Jets game was. I have the Jets coming out. I think I have the Jets coming out on top in this game. I'd have to go back and look, but I know that Sam Darnold's going to have a few points. He'll probably get about 350, maybe 3 touchdowns and a pick. So start him if you've got him. And then I'm going to say start Carson Wentz against Seattle. Seattle's got a pretty bad, not bad defense, but Seattle has a vulnerable defense. They've been able to give up points a lot, to teams, especially in the fourth quarter. So look for the Philadelphia Eagles 1 week removed from a bye, coming off a, really bad, disappointing loss to New England, rather. Look for them to have a bounce-back week. My bust so far this week, I'm going to say Jameis Winston. I think that Atlanta's pass rush, they've always had the same guys. It's just they finally started to execute. Atlanta has, I want to say it's 11 sacks in the last 2 games, and they had 2 in the previous 5 combined. So if they can keep that up, which I think for some reason that's what they're trying to do, I think all they're doing is ruining their draft pick at this point. But if Jameis Winston gets pressure, if they get pressure on Jameis Winston, he's going to start throwing picks. They picked off Kyle Allen 4 times last week, so look for Jameis Winston to have another classic game of his. I'm going to say sit Jimmy Garoppolo against Green Bay. I think that Green Bay has a really good situational defense, things like that. One of the things that they're best at is turning the football over, like in terms of forcing turnovers, like interceptions that shouldn't have been interceptions and fumbles that they forced. So look for Jimmy Garoppolo to have a few interceptions, probably 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, something like that. I'm actually going to say sit Russell Wilson this week. I've got a bad feeling about the Seahawks. I just feel like the Philadelphia Eagles are just going to kind of out-execute them all the way around in this game. I've got a stunning upset. It's in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, coming off a really disappointing loss to New England. I think that they're just going to be able to shut Russell down. It's not like they don't know how he plays. There's a veteran Eagles team, and I just expect Russell Wilson to have a slow game. So if you have another starting quarterback, go for them. Dak Prescott, I'm going to say, obviously, against New England, great defense in that. Even though, Dak Prescott leads the best offense against NFL defenses, I wouldn't start him. I think that the fact that New England's rush defense has been suspect lately, and that Dak Prescott is turning the ball over more and more than he ever has in his career, I'd say, do anything you can to start somebody better than him. And then sit Jared Goff against Baltimore, especially with Marcus Peters on the Baltimore Ravens. I think that he'll be able to really cover up Cooper Kupp. And, when Cooper Kupp has been covered up, just like completely blanketed, it seems like Jared Goff really doesn't have a lot of a lot of knowledge or rapport with the other receivers. So look for him to have a slow game. See if you can't start somebody else quarterback this week.